If you're trying to conceive, there are certain food ingredients or food components that should not be found in your food that wants to go into your mouth. Today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 8 food ingredients or components that you should be looking out for if you're trying to conceive when you go shopping. Because if these ingredients or components are found in your food and you eat them, it is going to impact on your fertility. Have you wondered why you find yourself doing everything that you're doing to get pregnant but you're not getting pregnant? It may just be that there are certain food components that you're consuming that is impacting on your health. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Precious. If you're seeing me for the very first time, the food we eat is important. Food is medicine. People have a 180 turnaround of their health when they make certain lifestyle changes, which also includes the food that they eat. If you're trying to conceive and you've never bothered about looking at the label of the things that you buy or looking at the food components of the things that you buy, I would like you to sit back and watch this video and get the 8 food components that could be impacting on your fertility. Without further ado, let's get talking. The first food components that you should be looking out for are food classed under trans fats or hydrogenated oil. These are food components that are found in things like baked food, things like packaged food, fried food, margarine, butter, all of those kind of food that has to do with packaged fried food. Now, what does hydrogenated oil do, or what does trans fat do? Trans fat actually increases insulin resistance. Now, again, insulin, which is the elephant in the room, is now back on the table. When you eat trans fats, you're indirectly or slowly impacting on your insulin. And what happens when you have insulin resistance? You don't want to know. The havoc, the harm, the impact is so much that it can completely destroy your fertility. So the next time you go to the shop, look at the packaging of what you're ordering or what you're buying and see if there's anything that's listed as trans fats or hydrogenated oil. If it is not there, but what you're eating is a packaged food pre-made in the one factory or the other, something that is baked like your cookie, your cake, your muffins, something that has margarine on it, just know that you're eating trans fats, and slowly but steady you're impacting on your fertility. Another thing you should be looking out for is added sugar. Now, when I say added sugar, what do I mean? I mean this: the high fructose, the corn syrup, the high fructose corn syrup, the sucrose, all of your added sugar in the form of your cereal, in the form of your candies, in the form of your sodas, your drinks, your diet this and your diet that, all of those things fall under this group of food, which is called added sugar. Now, let me tell you what it does. Every time you have those candies, every time you have those drinks, every time you have all of those kind of food that are high in sugar, it increases it causes a spike in insulin. In fact, whenever you're having any conversation around your fertility and insulin is mentioned, I want you to pay 100% attention, because insulin can literally cause a big problem for you. Now, when there's that spike in your insulin, what happens? It can lead to hormonal imbalance that affect ovulation and sperm fertility. Now, insulin has one aspect for the men where it affects sperm fertility. Insulin as well also affects the woman, which has to do with hormonal imbalance. Your husband is suffering from sperm fertility, sperm issue, and you are suffering from hormonal imbalance. Like, how are you going to get pregnant? So avoid anything that has added sugar. You know those cereal that you people eat that has different colors that you can literally physically see the sugar coated around it? You're literally eating poison and doing yourself a disservice. If you're trying to conceive on this channel, throw away all of those food full of sugar in your house. Excess sodium. Now we're talking about salt here. I have seen people when they go to the restaurant, it's almost like the salt that was used to prepare that food is not enough. They will add salt and add salt and add salt and add salt, adding so much salt that you forget that salt can cause issues with your blood pressure. And when you have high blood pressure, what do you think is going to happen? High blood pressure is related to diabetes, right? Whenever you have high blood pressure, the cousin of high blood pressure is diabetes. I would say the half brother of high blood pressure is diabetes. And what do you think is going to happen? Most likely diabetes is going to be coming on the way, but let's just forget diabetes for now and talk about the high blood pressure. What does that do to you? You begin to have issues around your overall reproductive health is going to be affected when you have high blood pressure. Your not just one area, overall reproductive health is going to be and it's going to affect or impact hormone regulation. One of the biggest issue when it comes to fertility is hormonal imbalance. Like, I can guarantee that if you're watching this video right now and you're trying to conceive, there is a chance that one of the things that you're battling with is hormonal imbalance. And if sodium, high level of sodium causes hormonal imbalance, do you know that when you stop eating salt, in fact, if you eat food in its natural form, it is nice. You do not need a lot of seasoning, you do not need a lot of salt and all of that. It is nice. Now, when you now add salt on top of that, you just begin to cause harm for yourself. So take away the salt, give yourself some time. Your taste bud is going to adjust. I remember some time ago when I used to take coffee. In fact, I never used to take coffee. I started taking coffee but add sugar, and I was encouraged by my husband to say, you know what, try taking coffee without sugar for some time. I tried taking coffee. As I speak to you right now, I cannot take coffee with sugar. It just doesn't taste nice anymore. And this is someone who is coming from taking coffee with sugar. So what do I mean? That your taste bud is going to regularize. Your taste bud will be fine because you're doing yourself a big favor by removing that excess salt. So if you've already made food, there's no need to add additional salt. If you go to a restaurant to eat, you don't need to put additional salt to the food. Eat your food and feed your body. Processed meat is another one. Now, one of the things that I have done in my home is that when I go to shop and I want to buy any of those meats that my kids can use for their sandwich, I make sure it does not contain sodium nitrate. When was the last time you checked the label of what you are eating? Now, when you go to the shop to buy something, look at the label and check if it contains sodium nitrate or nitrite. If your food contains nitrite, I would encourage you to stop eating it from today, because nitrite can cause a lot of inflammation for you. When I mean food that contains nitrite, I'm talking about things like bacon, things like sausage, things like hot dog, things like all those other meats that you put in sandwiches. They can cause inflammation for you. And what does inflammation do? Inflammation can reduce sperm motility, sperm count. Inflammation can also cause issues with the egg. The egg may be affected so much so that you may not be able to ovulate, or you may not be able to release mature egg. This ingredient or this component of food that I'm mentioning, I'm actually telling you how it links to your fertility. If you know you have any meal or any food, anything that you're eating that is processed, in fact, you shouldn't be eating processed food, but if you do and it has nitrite or sodium nitrite, please stop eating it. This food component that I'm going to be mentioning, a lot of us have it. A lot of us have this food component in our homes. When we go shopping, the things we buy, we have it, and it is called BPA. Now, BPA is the plastics that you have at home. BPA is contained in when you buy canned food. You know, the lining of the can that has a little bit of plasticky thing in it. You know, when you go to buy your water bottle, you buy a water bottle that is plasticky. You know, when you have anything that has plastic in it and you use it to either eat, put hot food in them. You know, your turning spoon, your eating spoon, the stuff that you use in your kitchen. You know how you store your food in the freezer. Every of this plasticky thing contains BPA. And let me tell you what BPA does. BPA is an endocrine disruptor. It actually mimics something, one of the hormones called estrogen. Now, because it mimics estrogen, it goes and it disrupts the normal functioning of the body. Now, a lot of us have this, right? I recently started changing my cooking utensils from the plasticky one. When I mean the plasticky one, you know, the one they say non-stick ones, to the stainless steel ones, because I just feel like, why do we have to poison ourselves this much? With the money that we have, we buy stuff that will impact our body. I was watching a podcast recently where this lady was talking about the kind of things that we put in our body that can actually affect us. Now I'm going to be making a video about, mostly for women, the things that actually affect our fertility that we don't know about. I can't wait to make this video because it's directly linked to this as well. So if you have anything that contains BPA, in fact you do, and you're trying to conceive, start making the transition into getting the things that don't contain BPA. The next one is I'm going to be talking about is hormone-injected dairy or meat. Now, you know that there are some meats, or there are some farms that have their animals, they do inject them with growth hormone or different kind of hormone. It's amazing what happens in the food industry. It's amazing, honestly, what is going on in the world right now. But there are certain things that we cannot completely eradicate because it's not in our hand. But one of the things I'm going to encourage us is that if you're buying food, you can afford organic food. Now, this is not to say even the organic food, I'm not even going to lie to you, they are suspicious. But if you can afford organic food, which is just one step or layer of protection for you, you may want to start going for the organic food. When we buy dairy products or meats that have been injected with all of this hormone, it does a lot of harm to us if we're trying to conceive. It contains synthetic hormones that can actually disrupt our natural hormone, right? So when you're eating something that contains synthetic hormone, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to affect our natural hormone, and when it affects our natural hormone, that's when you start having issues with ovulation is not coming, ovulation is coming, my cycle is 30 days, my cycle is 40 days, things are just all over the place. It doesn't just do that, it also affects, as well as it affects ovulation, it also affects sperm count, it also affects sperm motility, it affects the overall health, reproductive health of both the man and the woman. It's scary, but if you can go to the shop and you see the label of the meats that you're buying or the dairy products that you're buying, see if you can check the label, if the label can tell you if this dairy product or if this milk or if this cheese or if this beef or whatever product that you're buying contains the animals have been fed or have been injected by hormones. I'm not sure if they're going to put that there. But if for any reason you find that is written on the label, run. Literally run from those products. Refined carbohydrates. When I mean refined carbohydrates, I'm talking about things like the pasta, things like the white bread, and things like the processed snacks, all those things that contains your white this, your white that, your white rice, your white this. All of those flour and all of those contains, they are all classed as refined carbohydrates. What does refined carbohydrate actually do? It causes a spike in our insulin, and when we begin to have this regular spike, what do you think is going to happen? We begin to have resistance in the insulin level. When we have insulin resistance, then that's where the whole problem starts. Ovulation is affected, our hormones affected, our cycle affected, implantation affected, sperm count affected, sperm motility affected. Refined carbohydrate is poison. This is not outside of me. I'm not trying to conceive at this point, but in my home we try as much as we can to, we've moved from white bread, white this, white that, we've gone into the brown bread and all of that. And when I want to make any product with flour, I try to make it myself, because I just feel like, what is the point buying all these products from the shop that on top of the refined carbohydrate, it contains a lot of preservatives. It contains a lot of things that are not even written on the label. So when you go to the shop and the thing you want to buy contains refined carbohydrates, please, if you have an alternative, go for that alternative. Don't go for the refined carbohydrates. Artificial sweeteners. All of you that like to drink diet this, diet that, you want to take any drink, you want to add sweetener to it, or you want to flavored kind of food, flavor this, flavor that. Guys, I just feel like we are adults. We need to get to a point where we start eating like adults. As adults, we don't need to be flavoring our water. We don't need to be flavoring our drinks. We don't need to be doing flavor this, flavor that. We are adults. We should be eating food like adults. Now, when we eat like adults, we feed our body. We don't eat because of the taste completely. We eat because we know broccoli is nice for us. It's good for our body. That's why we're eating broccoli. We know that carrot is good for us. That's why we're eating that carrot. We know that fruit is good for us, even if it looks very ugly. But I know I'm feeding my body. We'll get to a point where we stop adding all this, sweeten this, sweeten that. You want to drink water, you have to add a bit of sweetener to it. Some people even go about saying that, oh, I cannot drink water. I have to drink flavored water. I have to drink carbonated water. I have to drink all those water that have been flavored with one kind of flavor of this, strawberry this, blueberry this, that. Drink water if you want to drink water. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that all those artificial sweeteners that we add to our food, and the ones that when we are buying, it says artificial coloring, artificial sweetener, it causes spike in our insulin. It affects our reproductive health. It affects ovulation. It affects implantation. Have you ever thought about why there's this high level of infertility in the world today? Do you actually think it's because, oh, okay, people are beginning to have children older? That could be the reason. But do you not think that the food that we are eating is the major culprit or the major thing that is affecting our health when it comes to fertility? Artificial sweetener shouldn't be on your menu or on your buy, your list of shopping. Shouldn't be on it if you're buying it. It shouldn't also be in your locker. If you have artificial sweetener in your locker, after watching this video, go and put it in the bin. Thank you. Now let me give you the relationship tips that we have for this video. For this video, do you know that when you cook your own food and you cook it together with your spouse, you're increasing bonding time? Bonding time should not only be when you're in your bed, when you're trying to conceive. Bonding time should not just only be when you're watching movies. Bonding time should not only just be when you're having a shower or something. Bonding time could be when you're cooking. Your partner could be there doing one part of the chore and you're doing one part of the chore, and you're making healthy food for yourself and feeding your body. You're not feeding those cells that are wanting sugar. Do you know that cancer cells as well thrive when you eat this kind of food? If cancer cells can thrive when you eat this kind of food, what do you think happens to your overall body? That tells you that all of these components, all of these ingredients should not be consumed by human beings, should not be consumed by living people, should not be consumed by anybody that is trying to conceive. Normal people even avoid it. How much more people who are trying to conceive? So if you're trying to conceive, I would want you to make a list of all of these 8 ingredients or all of these 8 components that you should avoid. Have it on your notepad that every time you go shopping, you'll be looking at them. By the time you do it 1, 2, 3 times, you get used to the food ingredients or component that you should avoid, and you'll start taking it off your list bit by bit. I will encourage you not to do everything in one go, but take it off your list bit by bit. And yes, you will be grateful that you did, and your body will be grateful that you did. So thank you so much for watching this video. Are there anything that you think I haven't mentioned that shouldn't be on the list of people who are trying to conceive when they are going shopping or when they're eating? Let me know in the comment section. But if you've enjoyed this video, I would like you to please press the subscribe button, press the like button, share to your friends, and engage on the comment section, because I'm going to be there after posting this video for an hour to respond to all your comments, to respond to any questions that you have. Thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next time. Peace out.